And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is the final episode of New Earth Tarot taking place today. There's going to be New Earth TV Live that will be taking place at the weekly webcast that I'll be doing every single Friday. And of course, with the New Earth TV Live, it's going to have a different kind of format. We're going to basically start off with Q&A, and then we're going to go on into inner practice, and then we would go into distance healing. But that's tomorrow. And so for today, this is the last episode of New Earth Tarot. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm really getting out of the political stuff. I'm really getting out of the conspiracy stuff. I'm really getting out of kind of the truther, low vibe stuff altogether. I want to kind of take New Earth teachings back to the way it was prior to COVID, right? So from 2020 to 2023, I have been deciding to go into enabling these political topics and discussions to come through. Not because I really wanted to discuss it, but I was actually helping people to try and get out of it, right? I've never been one for political discussion. I've never been one from conspiracy discussion, right? The old me was quite a few years back, but I certainly got out of that for quite some time. Followed more of a path of spiritual empowerment, self-realization, looking much more deeper into the self about what we were all capable of through these empowering states, and that has really been my life since 2008 up into present day. But I decided to allow that stuff to happen because we were going through COVID, and a lot of people were worried, and a lot of people were upset, and I would basically go into those political discussions to help get people out of them. And I'm not doing that anymore. So I think that time has passed. I think I'm way past that time, and we're just going to basically focus on certain discussions as well too that really don't center around politics and don't center around conspiracy, because that has never been the intention of New Earth teachings, right? I had a strategy in mind for these past 3 years, but I feel like I'm really getting out of that strategy now. It doesn't need to be there anymore. And I know a lot of people have questions, and I'm sure you guys will probably have questions pertaining to the field of politics and conspiracy. It's not to say that I'm not going to answer your question. It's to say I'm basically going to take your question and turn it around a little bit more. Something that's a little bit more uplifting, something that's basically telling you a little bit more behind the scenes about why these things happen and how there can be an empowering lift to it altogether. But anyways, first and foremost, before we get into New Earth Tarot today, we'll go ahead and start off with some announcements. Here we go.
The world's first spiritual rejuvenation technology in the form of modern everyday items has arrived through EtheRx. EtheRx offers transcendental healing products that work to detoxify, replenish, and restore you on a physical, emotional, and mental level. The Ether Bed Kit takes the form of a powerful rejuvenation technology that utilizes your own life force energy to restore organs, glands, bodily systems, the energy system, and replenish emotional and mental well-being. The Etherics card decks, the healing code cards, eliminate and detoxify physical, emotional, and mental conflicts within the body. 44 beautifully designed geometrical cards specifically designed to work on the major areas of the body, encouraging natural recovery and increased vitality. The Healing Code cards come in 3 different themes: the body, mind, and energy decks, each with their own specific design to renew and rejuvenate the body. Etherics apparel and accessories that offer comfortable attire and beautiful geometrical and image designs to detoxify, strengthen, and rejuvenate the body. Download our collection of free sample images and cards from our website so that you can witness the benefits of EtherX spiritual technology for yourself. Visit our website now at etherx.co and begin your rejuvenation journey with us.
And of course, this Sunday, I have to update the date on this graphic, but anyways, this coming Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, the next episode of Transmissions from Adronis is going to be on the air. So if you go to the video description, you'll find the Zoom link there, and you can go ahead and register. It is a free event. Of course, I'll have another moderator I'll have my moderator there to take questions as well too. Questions will just be available to people who are on the Zoom chat. So for Zoom attendees only. So again, that's happening this Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Looking forward to it. And of course, private sessions are available, distance healing requests, 1-to-1 private sessions, and 3-question private email sessions are available. With the private sessions, I'm able to bring in Adronis as well too if you want to talk to him. Again, 3 questions by email are with tarot readings and higher self communication. And of course, the distance healings have been doing really, really well as well too. People have come to me not just only with healing with themselves or healing with others, but also healings with their animal companions as well too. And so I'm always happy to provide some distance healing requests with that. And you can check that out at newearthteachings.com. And we have a big announcement, is I'm going to be returning to in-person events. So if you are in the Mount Shasta, California area, on June 1st and June 2nd, we're going to have 2 events here with Adronis. Transmissions from Adronis, the Mount Shasta Experience. 2 days exploring the history and magic of Mount Shasta through an off-world perspective. Right? So if you want to travel to Mount Shasta, June 1st, June 2nd, and be a part of these 2 amazing events, the first day is an indoor event, and it is a donation-based event as well too. Now, if you go into the video description, as it says here, the event link is in the video description, and it's all donation-based. You can pay any amount of your choosing, and that will get you on the list to be part of the first day. The first day we're going to be connecting to is a place called Soul Connections, and that is that's in Mount Shasta. And so we have a beautiful space there that's all booked up. And I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be happening from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then on day 2, we're going to be meeting up at the Old Ski Bowl Trailhead, which is at the end of Everett Memorial Highway. And that'll be from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Bring your lawn chairs. Okay, so I'm going to be doing an Adronis communication in that area, just around the area of Mount Shasta. And then we're going to go for a short walk. And I'll be sharing some information regarding Mount Shasta as well too. So this, again, it's the first time in 4 years that I'm able to come back to Mount Shasta. So I was there in 2019, and being able to do another in-person event, which has been quite some time. So again, for more info, you can go to newearthteachings.com, as you'll see this event poster there. And again, you can go to the link in the video description, and you can just purchase by donation and be part of the Mount Shasta experience. So it'll be my first time ever since COVID lockdown, where we're going to be coming back and doing in-person events. I hope to see a lot of you there. I have a lot of good connections with California. So I've always considered California like a second home to me. So it'll be good to see more of you again here. And if you're available June 1st and June 2nd, come and join me for the Mount Shasta experience, where you get to talk to Adronis as well too. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, everything on our YouTube channel here, New Earth Teachings backup channel, odyssey.com/@NewEarthTeachings. Everything is backed up there. And you can find the link in the video description as well. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started on. It's 11:11 a.m. How about that? Perfect timing. 11:11 a.m. my time anyways. So we're going to go ahead and get started with some Q&A. A lot of this exciting things are going to be happening with Etherics as well too this coming weekend. This Saturday, I'm going to be doing another live stream with Etherics because we're going to be debuting the pre-orders of the Etherics Taurus bed. Okay, so the Taurus bed is a very powerful. It's our second model of the bed kit, and it is incredibly powerful. It works together with source point consciousness. It works with completely discharging and charging every single cell within your body. Its healing ability is absolutely profound, and there's all kinds of great insight pertaining to the new healing bed, or I should say the new Taurus bed that's to come. So again, the pre-orders will be starting here on the 15th of April. If you are already subscribed to the mailing list, you'll be getting that newsletter. If not, go to etherix.co. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. You'll see the sign-up form there for a newsletter. Click on that. Stay informed. You're going to get some really great insight in regards to the new Taurus bed that's coming. I'm also going to be doing custom Etherics engraving services as well too. So basically engraving pendants, engraving rings as well too, where basically you would have the same level of healing as a Taurus bed would. Plus you would be able to add some custom requests into the ring or the pendant as well too. So I'm looking forward to that. That will also be shared in the upcoming newsletter here on the 15th. There will also be some more information on AetherX.co when the 15th comes around. So we got two really exciting pre-order campaigns happening. So I'm looking forward to this Saturday. Again, tomorrow is New Earth TV Live. Saturday is EtheRx live stream on the EtheRx YouTube channel. If you guys don't know where that is, then I can basically show you where that is. Okay, AetherX.co or the YouTube channel, EtheRx Store, youtube.com/@EtheRx Store. So you can just go there and make sure to subscribe. We're going to be having a lot more tutorial videos showing up on the EtheRx channel as well too, regarding all of the items that we have, and basically how these particular items, even the free items as well too, can help you to heal. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I got my tarot cards here on standby. So start going to the questions. So like I said, guys, I know maybe many of you may want to talk about political discussions. I'm not here to talk about politics anymore. Okay, like I said, I've decided to leave that behind. The same thing goes with kind of low vibe conspiracy, right? It's not to say that I'm ignoring your questions. In some ways, I might just take your question and turn it into a higher vibe, okay? I want to bring back New Earth teachings in the way that was originally intended. And that is to inspire you guys, that is to empower you guys, that is to enrich you guys through the power of your heart, to the power of your soul, to the power of your spirit. That is the entire purpose of this channel, right? And has been since 2011. So we're getting back into those roots, okay? So if you're here and you enjoy that, great. I'm glad you're along for the ride, right? Because we are not a political channel. We are not a conspiracy channel. We're not the low vibe truther kind of channel. That's not what we represent, right? We're moving upwards. We're not moving down, right? Okay, let's go through the list here, through the chat. So hello, everybody. Mary asks here, hi, Brad, what can you tell us about Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, USA? Thank you. Well, why don't we pull cards with that all together and we can take a look at Skinwalker Ranch. I think I may have talked about this before, but we'll look into it briefly. I know there's a lot of sightings in there. It's basically a portal system, as I've talked about. But we'll take a look and see what the cards have to say in regards to Skinwalker Ranch, right, in Utah. So what is Skinwalker Ranch about? What can be shared in regards to this particular ranch or site and its energies that are there? It feels like that site has been cleansed. Okay, it feels like that site has been purged, right? The whole idea of whatever energies that were once there feels like it's being cleaned up a lot. I've heard a lot of documentaries about Skinwalker Ranch, about these kind of sometimes parasitic interdimensional beings, greys, what have you, in that sense, basically representing a portal opening that would invite some of these particular beings in. But I'm really getting that the idea of that particular portal system or vortex is being cleaned up. So it is a sacred site. It is, I would say, probably even on a ley line as well too. But it's been a vortex. It's been an opening, a rift between worlds. And it feels like there's been a lot of work. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have come to that ranch, basically offering their blessings, conducting ceremony, sharing a lot more of the light into that space. And it feels like that entire area is being cleaned up. It may even have dowsers that are coming in there as well too, and purifying the portals, okay? Whenever we have corrupt portals on the planet, and this does happen quite a bit, is we have people who in the past have conducted some basically demonic-based ceremonies. We could say that they're black hat ceremonies. Maybe that's the best way to put it. So we're trying to respect the censorship here, right? But basically we have a lot of black hat ceremonies coming together. And what happens is whenever you have a corrupt portal, guys, you're looking at vertical streams of corruption altogether. So basically, whenever we have these corrupt states, if we're looking at a portal that was once horizontal and harmonious, it gets flipped. And when it gets flipped, those particular forms of waves of energy become vertical, right? As they become vertical, we're basically looking at an inverted portal. And those inverted portals can come more into kind of like hellish-like dimensions, demonic dimensions in that way. And that's where certain beings in that sense that represent more about chaos and confusion, corruption, even violence as well too, can come in through these particular portals. This has been a strategy that has happened throughout the ancient past, going back hundreds or even thousands of years, is that they would have a lot of these black hats coming onto these sacred sites, and they would start cursing these sites. They would start performing black hat ceremonies. Like I said, the best way to put it is just working with these black hat ceremonies and start corrupting the vortex that was once established there. And so this is what creates vertical lines. So it creates these vertical waves that basically take a horizontal harmonious portal and flip it sideways. You're inverting the portal. So rather than having it being uplifting and moving up into the higher planes, it gets flipped and it goes into the lower domains. And then these beings from these lower domains will come through, and they're all about corruption, they're all about contamination, they're all about control, they're all about regressive nature. Okay? But from what I'm seeing here is it looks like there's been some very strong unification taking place at Skinwalker Ranch. Because this has been such a popular site, there's been shows about it, there's been a television series about it, about Skinwalker Ranch, there's been a lot of documentaries about it. I feel like there's a lot of cleanup happening, right? So I feel like there's been some changes, and this feels to me like some portal activity that's been happening here. So it looks like there's been some sophisticated changes taking place on Skinwalker Ranch, where a lot of those beings that came through, which were not too pleasant whatsoever, were trying to wreak some chaos, okay? So this is the advice here, representing that there's been some action taken, and it feels like there's a lot of cleanup work that's being done at Skinwalker Ranch, okay? So I'm sure you can go on YouTube, you can find all kinds of documentaries about Skinwalker Ranch, but I feel like it's moving into a point now where it's going to start getting cleaned up. I have also in the past talked about beings that have been known as disruptors. I've referred to them as disruptors. And some of them will basically just hide behind dimensional veils. And I've had people who have been able to activate a lot more of their inner senses, and they can actually see through the veils. And they can actually see these beings just kind of walking to and fro and having certain forms of equipment as well too. And then that person who can now see them is like, oh, hey, I can see these beings. And they're like looking right at that person like a deer in the headlights kind of look. And they basically just press a button and they veil themselves and they get out of here. So that's what I've referred to as disruptors. Okay, so basically you have these beings in pocket dimensions. But when you evolve yourself to a certain level, when your abilities start to shine brightly to a certain extent, you can actually start seeing through the veils, and you can see a lot of these disruptors that are here. Now, many of them are actually being booted off the planet. That's the good idea. That's the good news right now. You could say that there's almost like a type of policing that's going on relating to these disruptors. There's still some of them here, but a lot of them are being kicked off the planet. They're actually being apprehended and taken out of the Earth plane because this is no longer their domain, right? So there's a lot of cleanup going on. Not only a lot of cleanup that's been happening here in the physical, but a lot of cleanup that's also been happening behind the scenes as well too. So a lot of these disruptors that basically will use some of their own psionic abilities, psi abilities, psychic abilities, whichever you want to call them, and basically trying to enforce anger onto people, especially people who are very emotionally sensitive, right? And they will basically just sit there in the pocket dimension because they'll find that there are people who they basically run psionic tests on. Okay, I'm sure pretty much every psychic that is quite gifted on this planet has had encounters with psionic disruptors. Okay, what that means is they basically go into your space covered in a pocket dimension, and they start running tests on you, and they basically start to get an idea of your psionic capacity, about how capable you are as a psionic or a psychic or anything of that nature. And you have a certain score, okay? I've had members of Solar Warden do this to me, okay? I've had this back in 2009. I was talking to a psychic friend of mine. She was very much in contact with some particular agents of Solar Warden, and she was talking to them about me. So Brad, oh yeah, we know about Brad. We've done some psionic work on him. And he's the real deal, and he's got powerful energy, and blah, blah, blah. So we've been keeping an eye on him and stuff like that. So I've had those kind of encounters with Solar Warden kind of in a peripheral state. But there's also these disruptors, which are not Solar Warden. They would represent other agencies, represent other organizations, and so forth. And they basically contain themselves in this pocket dimension, and they will run psionic tests on you. Sometimes they'll basically just measure your aura. It's no more different than looking at scalar technology, really, in that way. And they have certain systems in place. You could say almost maybe like crystal systems or holographic systems and so forth. And they will basically tag you, right? And as they tag you, it's basically an implant, right? Some of those implants can be like little, kind of like astral coating, basically being put into you. Some of them can actually look like rods. Some of them can look like little pills. Some of them can look like diamonds. There's different types, but they're basically astral in nature. They're not physical in the body. And they will tag you. And basically, if you go to a certain level pertaining to empathic ability, they create restraints, right? So they're basically putting restraints on you. And they will often try to run these particular types of programs that are trying to dumb down your psychic senses. And a lot of it will come into contamination of fear, apprehension, control-based programming as well too. It's exactly what these disruptors have been doing for a very, very long time here on the planet. But now there is a counterforce initiative that's basically apprehending a lot of these disruptors and taking them out of the scene. So that's exactly what's been happening. I'm not too sure what brought this conversation on, but oh yes, of course, with Skinwalker Ranch. But basically that's what's been happening for quite some time. And basically that's what we may see at Skinwalker Ranch. We can see these beings actually coming through in the physical, or we may see them in pocket dimensions, but it's an open vortex. But it looks like a lot of people have been taking some really good responsibility, and they've been going to Skinwalker Ranch and they've been blessing the space. And that makes such a big difference, especially if you come together with dozens of people or hundreds of people, all united with the same thought to completely harmonize the space, to bring the space back into its center. What you're doing is you're taking those vertical waves relating to a contaminated portal and you're flipping them back horizontally. As you're flipping them back horizontally, this becomes the harmonious portal once again, and it now starts moving up into the higher planes. We want to go up into the higher planes, everybody. We don't want to go back into these lower domains that could be Hades or hell-based, right? Because that's what a lot of them have been switched. And again, it's been through a lot of black hat shenanigans. It's been through a lot of corrupt, nasty, despicable black hat rituals that have happened all over the world and contaminated. Guys, look at Stonehenge. Look what happened with Stonehenge. That was once a beautiful dimensional doorway that led up into the higher planes. And it got contaminated because there was human sacrifices committed there. Basically, druids getting sacrificed upon Stonehenge. And the entire doorway there got completely and totally contaminated. So this is exactly why some of the structures of Stonehenge needed to be destroyed, because it was turning into a dark dimensional doorway. Okay? Skinwalker Ranch is also the same thing. There's a lot of different places, sacred sites on the planet that once had beautiful, uplifting energies that throughout the course of time and has been strategized, basically having people like the Vikings, basically having devilish cults coming through and basically completely corrupting the entire doorway itself. This is planned, this is orchestrated, this is all part of moving Earth down into its Kali Yuga, going back again hundreds or even thousands of years, so that these particular doorways would be contaminated, so that we would basically stay in a separate self-consciousness based world. Okay? Now the tide is starting to turn. So what I recommend is, if you know any particular groups, whether it's a group of dowsers, whether it's just people who are very gifted with working with their empathic ability, who want to create ceremony and want to go to these sacred sites, join them. Okay, because you're going to help tremendously with turning that vertical gateway into a horizontal gateway again. Okay, so whenever we're looking at vertical, we're looking at something that's been corrupted, right? It's like taking the pentacle and inverting it. Okay, now we are uninverting that pentacle and we're turning it back into its standard alignment, so that that particular portal can be harmonized again. So that's what I'm getting with Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, so it looks very, very positive. All right, so I got a donation here. Daryl, thank you very much. Namaste, Brad, adding love and light in the battle. Thank you for all your share. Great. Thank you, Daryl, I appreciate that. All right, I have a question here for Adronis from Samar. So Samar says, question, hey Adronis, Brad talked about states and countries needing to go republic. How would that look? What would that look like? And how is it different from princely state systems from past? Princely state, not sure what you mean by princely state. But we'll basically look in and see how would that be different from the past. It might be spelling errors or something, but Samar, no problem. I will go ahead and bring Adronis in, and he can share some insight in regards to countries going republic in that sense. Now, this is not meant to be political in any way, but it's giving you the idea because I have talked about this in the past. Adronis can come through and he can iterate a little bit further in regards to what this means. All right. So one moment as I bring him in, and we'll get started. Terra Soul Star Sirius Adronis We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. We thank you very much to the one known as Samar for your question pertaining to the idea of forming a republic, having sovereignty in that way. The only reason it works is because it is the external reflecting the internal harmony of yourself. That's what it is to have a republic, which means everybody is responsible for themselves. Everyone becomes sovereign of their own land. They become sovereign of their own environment. They work together in much more of a harmonious, independent cooperation. Even though they share a great deal of resources, they may even share land with each other as well too, their nature represents that of sovereignty. The independence in that sense is the manifestation and reflection of what one realizes who and what they truly are, and they come into a natural aura of peace and tranquility. And that is what reflects your outer world. When you therefore have the idea of governance reflecting the nature of personal sovereignty of a republic country, of a republic nation, of a republic state, of a republic province, whatever it is that you may term. It's the idea that people are taking their power back. That requires a certain level of responsibility, yes. Now, it will be quite some time before your people on a collective level reach that, because many of you are still very, very dependent upon others to survive. You're still living very much in the survival-based shadow, which means you need to clear away the obstruction that is causing the shadow so that the light of the sun can shine upon you. As you do that, that's what's leading you much more into independent prosperity. You have to know what it feels like to be independent and prosperous. Many of you don't know how to do that because, again, you've relied upon a system that relates to a democracy. Democracy is all about the nature of dependency. And so you're getting out of that, and you're moving into much more of a republic, a sovereignty. Now, we understand that the conduit here is not looking to talk about politics, neither are we, but we are just giving you the basic difference pertaining to that of what you would term as a democracy and that which you would term as a republic. There are two completely different things. A democracy is all about you being under the mercy of many. That if many vote in this particular way and you do not, well, then it follows the majority vote. It is not, in that sense, a well-oiled machine. When you're looking into sovereignty, it's about you being sovereign of your own space. When you are looking into the republic, a republic itself represents that reflection of independency, of growth, of working together, yes, but again, knowing that you're holding your power in your own hands. Each of you has your own kingdom. It's not about being under the nature of a monarchy, being under the nature of a democracy, or anything of that nature. It's all about the idea that when you have independent sovereignty, you are reflecting outwards what is your true nature in here. What is your true nature overall? So that's the idea. So what will it look like when humanity decides to start being sovereign? A world unlike anything that you cannot even fathom. That's what it will look like. Because you couldn't imagine it. You couldn't imagine it from where you are right now. We could give you some ideas, but some of you may say, oh, that sounds like a pipe dream. That feels like our own heads in the sky a little too much. And we wouldn't blame you, because this is where you are right now, because you're still in survival mode. But when you move into a republic, you have cooperation. There's no more war. There's no more poverty. There's no more sickness. Because everybody will want to work together and share what they have. You will work for the betterment of yourselves and for others. You probably won't even have money at that time. Money will be a thing of the past. It'll be the idea of contributionism. That's what's going to represent the idea of sovereignty. Money will be a thing of the past. Money does not need to operate in a true sovereignty, like a republic. Doesn't need to operate. Everybody has what they need. Everybody is given what they need. And the idea of governance all comes through the idea of volunteers. Voluntary leaders who are happy to lead, who are happy to share, that again work together to help others grow and evolve and expand. You will have technological breakthroughs because you will all want to do this for the state of betterment. It really is no more different than what you would term as your Star Trek show, where everybody's working for the betterment of themselves. It's not about a society that is trying to claw and fight and survive over each other, where it's a dog-eat-dog world. That is unbelievably primitive, and you're seeing that for yourselves. And that you feel that you have to survive in these particular systems. It is going to gobble you up. It's not until you realize that in here is your sanctuary. In here is freedom. In here is the heart that shines the light to where you realize I have full say over my world. You already do right now. You just don't think that you do. So when you're moving into the nature of sovereignty, into a republic, it's a very, very different world than what you're used to. Will humanity get there? Most definitely. Will you get there right away? No. Because you have to see exactly what it is that you have been erecting through your life that represents these obstructions that are casting these shadows, causing you to live inside these shadows. And in order for you to get out of these shadows, you need to disassemble the obstruction in front of you that says, all there is to life is pain. All there is to life is suffering. All there is to life is this gigantic shadow that I'm trying to take shelter within. You're relying very much on your own shadow selves to get you through life. And really, we would say it's not really your fault because this is the programming that you have been raised upon. You've been raised to live in hell. We mean that very literally. You have been raised to live in hell. You have not been raised to see the power within yourselves. You have been contaminated. You have been polluted. You have been programmed. You have been conditioned to live upon a beautiful world that is cast through this shadow, because you have gone through the nature of feeling that suffering needs to be the natural part of life. And we're telling you that has never been the case. But you've been indoctrinated into that. You've been traditionalized into that. You have completely been brainwashed into the feeling that you are working with these trance-inducing programs to feel like if I hide in this shadow, I'm safe. But you're always on the run. Your mind is always fighting with you. Your body is always fighting with you. Your emotions are always fighting with you. Your actions are always fighting with you. People around you are always fighting with you. Fight, 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 fight. All the time. Non-stop, since the day that you were born. Tell us, anybody, right here, right now, who has not had an experience like that. We can tell you that the great majority of human beings upon the planet has had experiences like that. where you're constantly at each other's throats, where you constantly ridicule each other, where you constantly judge each other. You feel that people have higher authority and greater power than you so that you can give your power away to them. And that is why you're lost. That is why you're kept inside the shadows, because you think somebody out here is going to take care of something and you're going to be fine. No, not their responsibility. And for you to go into that is only you just trying to take shelter in the shadows. So what a republic is doing is it's breaking down those obstructions that are causing those shadows to form. Now you're living in the light. So going into independence, moving into sovereignty, aligning into a republic is an outer expression of you discovering your own sovereignty. Humanity will get there, but not right away. You have to see the falling down of these pillars taking place throughout your entire world, watching them fall so that you now can rub your eyes and feel what it's like to come into the light, so that you can be responsible for yourselves, so that you can take care of yourselves. You don't need anybody but yourself. You're happy to assist, you're happy to help, but that is guidance, that is encouragement, that is support. Support is not a necessity. Support is a compassion, not a necessity. Your own necessity is to know that you have your own inner support, that you have your own inner strength, that your inner sovereignty reigns supreme because everybody else is you and you are them. It's getting out of this hopeless dependency. And when you get out of that and the obstructions fall away, now you will live in a world that will be so beautiful, so promising, so enriching and abundant to you, you couldn't imagine a day without it. As we said, we can only give you ideas of this right now because many of you will look at this and say, oh, well, I wish that's exactly what was happening right now because we're not even close to that. And you would be correct. You have a long way to go yet because you need to work with each other. That's what sovereignty, that's what a republic represents. You have your own space, but out of compassionate service, you're helping everyone else. Not out of necessity, but out of the compassion to do so. So, yes, this will be a benchmark for humanity. But in order for you to get there, you must go through this transitional time to realize everything that you have put your energies into that you think is your salvation is not. Everything that you have put all of your intentions into that you feel is going to lead your life into a higher plane is not. And that's so the obstructions that you have to crumble down. You have to let them crumble. You have to let them fall because they are not your saving grace. They are not the escalator that's taking you up to heaven. They're keeping you stagnant because you're hiding in the corner where the shadow itself lurks. The obstructions need to be taken down. And when they are, that is the peak time to where sovereignty, internally and externally, will reign supreme. We thank you for your question. Okay, great. Thank you, Samar. Hope that answered your question for you. Appreciate it. All right. I think we got a couple of donations here, so let me just go down, make sure I got everybody. Okay, I got Daryl's, and this one here is from Angie. Hi, Brad. Can you ask the universe, should I sell my... Yeah, no personal questions, guys. Sorry. And even with personal questions, guys, I'm sorry, I don't really do financial stuff, okay? I cannot advise you guys about selling gold or silver, okay? I've even said that even when I was looking into politics. I'm not a financial consultant, guys, okay? So I really cannot advise you, Angie. First of all, it's a personal question. We don't do personal questions. Sorry, I should have announced that before I got on the air. But we don't do personal questions here, okay? I know you paid for some money, donation in here, regarding silver and gold ETFs on market. Not sure how safe, get mixed reviews. Okay. All I can really say is that just when I talked about it, I think about a week or two ago, that silver is doing very, very well, just because I've looked at momentum of things. Okay. But I really cannot advise you guys. I'm not a financial consultant. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial professional. And I can never tell you guys when to sell something or when to buy something, right? I just give you the look of something when I have looked at it in the past. Silver looks like it's doing very, very good and will continue to climb upwards. But I can't advise you in regards to marketing or financial advice or anything of that nature, okay? So please, guys, no personal questions. I just cannot answer them. I'm here for questions that will benefit the listeners and the viewers altogether. All right? Thank you for your question. All right, let's go through the list here once more. And again, guys, please, let's cut back on the political questions, okay? Because I'm not going to be tackling them. Also, conspiratory questions. Let's try and cut back on those too, guys. Let's look at things that are going to help uplift. Let's bring New Earth teachings back into its original intentions. All right. Ding dong. It's kind of a personal question, but it's also kind of semi-personal here. I'm not sure if it's kind of a joking question, but Ding Dong says, "Hello, Brad. Everyone I know is depressed now, but I'm very happy. Should I hide my face with a sad mask to blend in?" Well, here's the thing, Ding Dong. I'm very happy, right? And I've met a lot of people who are depressed. Have I ever hidden my face? No, right? If anything, you should just continue to let your light shine. And this is for people in that sense who are doing their inner work, who are working with their heart, who are empowering themselves, who are expanding themselves a great deal further. Why do you feel the need to hide your face? Why do you feel the need that you need to put a mask on your face to feel like you're sad? Right? I can't even do a frowny face anymore. I just keep smiling all the time. But why do you feel the need to do that? Okay. When a person is depressed, just give them your love. That's it. Don't you worry about why are you depressed? Why are you depressed? No, because all that is just going into the conversation of a story. Okay? When a person is depressed, give them your heart love. Give them your compassion. It's very much like what Adronis was saying here about the nature of your sovereignty, right? Give them that love. Give them that compassion. Give them a compliment. I like what you're wearing today. Oh, Brad, I like your purple shirt. There you go, right? If I was very depressed and down the dumps, but here I am with my purple shirt. Hey, I love your purple shirt. It's great. Oh, thank you. It's very nice of you. I like the way your beard looks today. Oh, great. Well, thank you. Okay? That's all it takes. We don't need to get into the story, right? If the person wants to tell you their story, then let them. That's fine. But you don't need to say, oh, well, you're so depressed. You look kind of like you're bummed out. I'd say that's not the best way to start a conversation, all right? Start off with compliment. Start off with sincerity of love, with encouragement, with support, okay? You're right. There's a lot of depressed people that you're going to find throughout the world, okay? You're going through the city streets and people can't even look up. They're like this all the time. They're going down and they're just hanging their heads and they're buried in their phone. They don't want to look at people. They're kind of going left and right. It's like they have a tractor beam with their phone and they don't want to look at anybody. Bless the space, okay? This was something I was talking about, I believe, last week, about the idea of blessing your space, right? Not only just being inside your house and going inside your room and saying, I bless this room, it is my sanctuary. I bless my kitchen, it is my sanctuary. I bless my bathroom, it is my sanctuary. I go out and I start walking along this path, right, going out to a beach, and I say, bless this path. It is a sanctuary for all. I go out to the dock. Bless this dock. It is a sanctuary to all. I see the people walking to and fro. Bless everyone here. They are in their sanctuary. Okay? Guys, that's it. And it's all just really internal. I'm not saying it and blasting it out loud, but it's just the idea that your heartfelt intention is blessing the space. This is exactly what we need to do more than anything right now. Where is your light, my friends? Your light's in here. And you want to go within and you want to extract that light and you want to shine it, right? We're only getting depressed because we look at the external things, right? But is that really who you are? What happens when you lose your body? Okay? This whole world pertaining to its externals will not be what it is anymore. You're moving into the grandness of yourself. What happens when you go to sleep at night? Are you aware of this body? Are you aware of this personality? No, you're not. It all goes away. What happens when you fall into deep sleep? You're not aware of this at all. You go into a peaceful slumber where you're basically just blanked out and you wake up the next morning. That was the most peaceful sleep I've ever had. And that peaceful sleep came from you just blanking out. No recollection of this body, no recollection of this mind. This is a hypnosis. This is a trance state, right? Me saying that I am Brad Johnson and I live and I completely dominate my life based upon that identity is me in trance. I'm in a trance state. Every time, guys, we get pulled by a thought, you're in trance. Okay? You think about your favorite movie last night, you're in a trance. You think about your favorite food that you want for dinner tonight, you're in a trance. You think about what your friend said to you yesterday and it's on your mind a lot, you're in trance. You're worried about all these things that are happening through the world of what you've seen on the television, you're in trance. Right? You're worried about how your money situation, how your job is going to do, you're in trance. You're constantly going into trance. That's what thoughts are. Thoughts are basically pulling you in and you're going inside their bubble and you're in a trance. That's all a trance state is, guys. It's going into a deeper immersion of thought, right? So when you're in trance, you are basically bubbled inside of a thought, going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. But while you're doing that, it's like you're being inside one of these deprivation chambers. You're depriving yourself of your own power. And as you deprive yourself of your own power, this is where you get weaker. This is where your body gets sick. This is where your mind gets sick. Everything starts getting sick. Everything starts getting ill. There are ailments nonstop. Okay? And this is why people are depressed. They're constantly in trance. Right? And sometimes you got to pop their bubbles. Hey, I like your shirt. Oh, popped out of the trance. Oh, thank you very much. That was very nice. So what am I doing? I'm pleasantly popping your bubble. Okay. Hey, I like what you're wearing today. It looks great. Oh, thanks. Popped your bubble. Okay. Everybody, really almost I'd say everybody on this planet just goes into trance constantly. Okay. We're all trance machines. And we're constantly going into the trance of our own thoughts and we're not present. It's when you're present, that's where your power is. So to ding dong, I would say the key here is to stay present. If I keep getting involved with everybody else's business, if I keep getting involved with the affairs and the stories of the world, then I'm not putting myself in the present moment. I'm stuck in thought. And thought is not the power. Your presence is the power. Thought only knows what has happened. It's a past instance. It looks into something and it looks into us, oh, okay, this is exactly what's happened. And this is the thought right here. And all the thought, what it knows is memory and hypotheses of the future through imagination. Okay? Thought is not the most powerful part of yourself. In fact, thought does not create. A lot of New Agers will say thoughts create reality. No, they don't. Thoughts have never created anything. Thoughts are nothing more than patterns of the past. Okay? Imagination is nothing but a hypotheticalness of what could be in the future. And again, it still propagates thoughts of possibilities. But thoughts are not the things that create. What itself creates is your own presence, your sovereignty, right? You being the creative force. A creative force creates. Creation cannot create. Creation is the byproduct of what has been created. Okay? The manifest cannot create. The manifest is the product of what has been created by the creative. And the creative is completely and totally unmanifest. So as soon as you start going into those thoughts, you're not creating a darn thing. You're in trance and you have weakened yourself. And you get weaker and weaker and weaker. So Brad, what can I do to resolve that? Start with the breath. Start with Hakalau. Okay? Start looking with your peripherals. Start taking everything in. Everything you see now. Everything you hear now. Everything you smell now. Everything you touch now. Everything you taste now. Take it all in. Take it all in. Take it all in. What happens to your mind? You go quiet. You're free of trance. You're out of trance. No depression exists in that state. Right? No pain, no problems, no conflict, no harm, no suffering comes into that space. I've just told you guys how to get out of it. Why aren't we doing it all the time? because I'm addicted to story. I'm an addict to story. I'm an addict to traumas. I'm an addict to suffering. I'm an addict to fear. I'm an addict to go into trance and to worry my beautiful butt off about being inside these balls, being inside these fears, and going deeper and deeper and deeper where I'm not even present in this world, and I'm worried and I'm concerned about these stories that I have created. I am taking the power of my presence and I'm creating these stories and going into the thought bubbles and staying there and entrenching myself into deeper states of depression because I'm in trance and I don't know that I'm in trance. Now I realize that I'm in trance, and now I just delightfully pop my bubble and I come back into presence. And that's your way out. That's how you get out of it completely. Leave the matrix, escape the matrix, escape the matrix. That's just a thought, right? Escaping the matrix is a thought itself. It's a waste of time. Okay? You're not escaping anything. You're coming into your power. You're coming into your sovereignty. You're coming into your presence. Okay? Forget about escaping the matrix. I need to run the matrix. How do I get out of the matrix? How do I unplug? That's just a thought. That's a fantasy that you're putting into your own little bubble, and you're going deeper into that trance as well too. Okay? It's not the answer. The answer to you transcending all of this comes through your peace. Not out of urgency, not out of escape, not out of frantic behavior. It is through your peace. It is through you reconciling with yourself. It is through you forgiving yourself. It is through you surrendering. It's the only way, guys. It's the only way. All right? So ding dong, that's what I can share with you in regards to your question, because I think it'll help a lot of people. That's why I took your question. Okay? Thanks for your question. All right. Going down the list here a bit more. Carol Ann Smith says, "Hi Brad, what about Thompson Park in Watertown, New York? They say that there is a portal or vortex there." Carol Ann, have you been there? Right? What I would suggest, guys, is there's always going to be rumors about certain things. And of course, we can look at the cards for this as well, too. But I would say if you guys are there, feel it for yourself, right? I've gone through to Sedona. Of course, I've been to Mount Shasta, right? I've been to some of these places that have had beautiful vortexes, and I've been there and I've stood in them. And that's fine. There's no greater vortex than what's in here, okay? That vortex is the greatest vortex of them all, because this is what takes you up to God. This is what takes you to heaven. This is what takes you into your sovereignty, is through what's in here. Okay? But why don't we look into Thompson Park in Watertown, New York? We'll ask, is there a vortex there? Okay? Guys, there's a difference between a portal and a vortex. Okay? Do you guys know the difference between a portal and a vortex? Okay? A portal is an opening, is a bending of space and time. Okay? Here is location A. Here is location B. Now, if I'm able to basically conjure a aperture or a portal in between those two spaces at a particular point, I can walk through and I can come out to location B. Okay? That is a portal. A vortex really represents, in that sense, something that has been conducted for charge. Okay? It's a charging of a space. Okay? A vortex, in that sense, can represent the idea of, for example, sacred sites on a ley line. Okay? Sacred sites on a ley line can create a vortex. Ceremonies can create a vortex. They are a charging point. Okay? It's a charge. It can even be a discharge as well, too. Okay? But it's not the idea of a aperture. It's not location A to location B. It's a charge point. Okay? So there's a fundamental relating to the idea between a vortex and a portal. Okay? A lot of people say, "Oh, brother, there are portals here." Like, guys, do you even know what a portal is? "Oh, brother, is there a vortex here?" Do you know what a vortex is? Okay? Getting into a vortex is a field of charge. It's a magnetic field. Something that's been highly magnetically charged. Can also be something that's highly magnetically discharged. Can also represent openings in the earth that are dispelling energies. Some of those energies can be harmful. Some of those energies can be beneficial. It all depends on the circumstances. Okay? But you're looking at one that has charge, and you're looking at the other that represents a doorway. Okay? So a portal is a doorway. Location A, location B. A vortex is a charge, a field of charge, either charging or discharging. Okay? And you can stand in the vortex, and if it has a really strong charge, you can basically nourish your entire energies off that charge. Okay? Vortexes will often be created commonly in ceremonies. Very rarely will you actually have portals created in ceremonies, unless you're basically dealing with sorcerers, unless you're basically dealing with highly advanced occultists who know how to actually open up a portal. Brad, do you know how to open up a portal? Yes, I do, but I would need help to do it. And I would probably be getting a lot of visits from black helicopters if I tried to do that. So not really something that I would want to do, okay? So creating a portal, you have to remember, is a waypoint. Location A to location B. That requires a lot of visualization, that requires a lot of cleansing, requires a lot of cooperation with other strong-willed participants as well too, where you basically bring your energy together and you're forming a portal system, okay? And you're basically tracing it. Here's location A, we put that into our thoughts. Here's location B, we put that into our thoughts, we create a stream. We create a stream waypoint through the portal. The portal itself forms, but it requires a great deal of life energy contribution. It also involves working together with the earth, because you basically have to create a tear in the earth and basically patching it up at the same time. It's also important to look at the time of day to when this occurs and the amount of energy input and output necessary to enable that portal to function as it can, so that that portal can continue to function at appropriate days and appropriate phases, especially when you're working with lunar phases or solar eclipses or any other forms of planetary alignments that enable you to give you appropriate charge to open up that tear, bring it into a state of remedy, to helping that tear work together in the harmony of a portal waypoint that brings you from location A to location B. Okay? It's that simple, guys. Come on. So it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of work. A lot of the ancient knowledge held that wisdom about how we're able to go from location A to location B. Sometimes those can be dimensional Earths. That's exactly what Stonehenge was all about. Stonehenge would connect to other worlds. And they had the Druids. They had the ancient knowledge of Atlantis that were teaching people how to make portal systems, because that's exactly what Atlantis had. Atlantis, many occultists, or basically we could say priests, could go into temples and go into portals going from one point of space, time to the other, going from one point of the planet to the other, going and visiting other dimensions from one point to the other, waypoints. Okay? So guys, there is a difference between portals and vortexes. Okay? Do you guys know the difference now? Can anybody tell me, what is a portal? Can anybody tell me that in the chat? Tell me what a portal is, and tell me what a vortex is, based on what I've just shared. Can anybody tell me? I'll give a few seconds here. I'll take a drink while I'm waiting. What is a portal? What is a vortex? I should play Jeopardy music while I'm waiting. And we'll look into that particular area that you were talking about, Caroline. Okay. So I'm just seeing if anybody has that answer. What is a portal? What is a vortex? Okay, and we'll look into Thompson Park in Watertown, New York. Thompson Park in Watertown, New York. A portal is an opening. Yes, it's a waypoint. It's a doorway. Okay. What is a vortex? Vortex is magnetically charged. Yeah, charged point, charged energy, yes. It's a charged field, okay? It's a field. It's no more different than if we were basically charging up a piece of iron boron and magnetically charging. It's not the iron itself that is magnetic. It's now that it has all of the potential to bring forward a charged magnetic property. Same thing goes with a certain point of the Earth. It has appropriate properties to charge that particular state of vortex. Again, these are things that can be naturally occurring. It can be through ruptures in the interior of the Earth that can open up, creating crevices that therefore are discharging energy as well too. So a portal can be both harmful and beneficial. Okay? Portals can also be quite harmful if you don't know what you're doing, because that can create leaks. There's a lot of guardians, though, that take care of portals that are abruptly created. Okay, a lot of them get sealed in regards to behind-the-scenes sanitation. Okay, Thompson Park in New York. Let's take a look at that. So I was trailing off with you guys, telling you about portals and vortexes. All right, let's take a look. Thompson Park in New York. Is it a portal? Is there a portal there? Okay. Not that I'm seeing. No, I'm not seeing a portal there. Maybe a vortex, okay? But there's a lot of curiosity, right? If we go to Thompson Park in New York, is there a portal there? No, I'm not getting anything in regards to a portal. So I'm not too sure if that's what Caroline was asking, okay? So it doesn't feel like there's any feeling of a portal there whatsoever. A vortex, maybe, okay? But not a portal system, okay? Portal systems are quite rare, right? Especially if anybody tried to create them nowadays. That would be a great merit for a person who can actually go there by themselves and create a portal. I know the terminology, and I know how you can technically do it, but I've never tried to create a portal. Like I said, I know if I did try to, I would be getting visited by black helicopters, and it would not be a very pleasant experience at all. So I would not involve myself with that. But yes, I know how one is created. I know how to create one, but I would never create one. Just not nowadays. Just not a good idea. Okay, great. Thank you for your question, Caroline. Let's move on. Going down the list a bit more. Okay, this one here is from GC. GC says, Brad, how do we protect against or stop these disruptor attacks? Well, that depends if you know that that's happening, okay? You cannot really stop something that you're not aware of happening, okay? So this is why some people might get into dowsing, okay? Some people may become dowsers. Some people, again, are working with themselves through intuitive ability. If they do not have those abilities, they may contact somebody who does and say, I don't know what's happening, but like every time I go to sleep at night, I feel like there's a presence in my room. I feel like I'm just getting these bombardments of hits, of frequencies, of a great deal of fear that's coming towards me, and I don't know how to stop it. And so maybe I'll talk to someone who's a medium. Maybe I'll talk to a shaman. Maybe I'll talk to a dowser. Maybe I'll talk to somebody who's experienced who can do this, okay? But we really cannot take care of what we do not know is there, right? If we do not have an awareness that a disruptor is coming into your space and is doing it, you can't really do anything, right? If you have a sneaking suspicion that that is what's going on, and if you have the capability yourself to douse, if you're already experienced in that area, there you go. If not, I would suggest talking to somebody who has that experience, whether it's a dowser, whether it's a psychic, whether it's intuitive. Some people have come to me with that as well too. Like, guys, I've performed exorcisms, okay? I've had a couple exorcisms that I've had to perform in the past, completely unexpected. I was never preparing to do exorcisms in that sense. One of the first ones I did, I think it was going back several years ago with a private session online. The second one I did was actually in Japan. When I was in Japan, there was a woman who basically had a multitude of different personalities within her. And basically I was starting to work on some healing with her, and her entire personality shifted into a man and said, you are disturbing my work, right? It just came into me like in a very male, very deep masculine male tone, right? And so basically I was helping to pull some of these personalities out of her. And that's basically what we would call an exorcism, okay? It's not like the Exorcist movie where the person's spinning their head around 360 degrees, or they're walking down the stairs like a spider, or they're puking green slime at you. Guys, that's a bunch of stupidness, okay? That's not what an exorcism is, okay? That's Hollywood glamour. That's really what that is. But no, I've worked with exorcisms. I've worked with helping people to clear their space, to get entities out, right? Whether it's reptilian, whether it's greys, whether it's other intruders, whether it's shadow beings in that way. It really is just being able to invoke your space, okay? Now, it's important that you guys have a little bit of tact relating to what you're doing. Because when you're in the heat of the moment, a lot of us just kind of freeze up, right? When people basically have sleep paralysis, okay? A lot of you guys have sleep paralysis. I've talked to a lot of you. I've never had it. It's the funny thing. But I've met a lot of people who have sleep paralysis, where they basically are asleep 3 o'clock in the morning, they're dephased, and now they're dephased, they're basically able to look at, you could say, 2 perspectives at the same time. You can see your physical body, you can see your physical space, and you can see your astral body, and you can see your astral space. Some people can actually see their astral body. And what's happening is you're dephased. You're out of phase between the physical and the transient bodies. right? And you feel like your whole body is just immobilized. You can't move. You can't even move your head. You can probably move your eyes and you can breathe, but that's about it. And you're seeing this really scary being directly in front of you that's approaching you, right? And you're scared out of your wits, right? And I've met people like that. People have had demons or demonics basically coming together and surprising them, or shadow beings, right? Or creatures, okay? This can happen. And basically what's happened is that you've pierced the veil because you're dephased. As you're dephased, you're aware of what your astral body experiences at the same time your physical body. So your physical body is immobilized, but you're still aware of your physical body. But at the same time, you're also looking with astral eyes. And so you're basically looking at kind of like a conjoining of two dimensions in the same space. And so basically what I would suggest is that in that moment, just close your eyes, put a call out to God. Put a call out to the Holy Spirit, put a call out to the white light, put a call out to source consciousness, put a call out to your angels, put a call out to Jesus, put a call out to Buddha, right? Whatever it is you want to do, and just say, bless my space, right? Clear all of this away. Bring me back into my center. And it happens, okay? I've had to coach people with this, and they say, okay, you're going to sleep paralysis. If that happens, I want you just to invoke the light, invoke the greatest, most powerful light you can, right from in here, okay? Your source, God, okay? Even if you have angels with you, if you have Jesus with you, that's fine as well too. But just invoke your light and bring back into your center. Come back into your center, right? Bring me back into my center. Bring me back into my harmony. Everything will stop, okay? The creature will vanish. Everything will vanish. Everything will just be completely brought back to center. That is a very, very powerful line to use, everybody. Bring me back to center. Okay? Don't worry about balancing, harmonizing, etc. Bring me back to center. And it happens. Okay? If you are noticing that a disruptor is in your space, but you cannot see them, but you kind of get a feeling that somebody is there, close your eyes, go into your heart, tune into the source, right? Tune into God, right? If Jesus is with you, if Buddha is with you, Krishna is with you, etc., great. Okay? But just say to those powerful forces, bring me to center. And it'll be done. Okay? You'll notice that that disruptor will leave. Okay? But they're in a pocket dimension. So unless you're actually able to see through the pocket dimension to actually see that disruptor, then you're not going to be able to perceive them. But you can feel that they're in their space. That's happened to me. I've had beings that I felt have been in my space as well too. And if I felt that they were not very pleasant, I would basically just say that, okay? I would invoke my power and present that power, okay? Some people will actually start to grow very large in their astral body. That's just mainly to become intimidating, okay? So if I was basically noticing that there was a showdown between some disruptors in my space, I could basically just make my astral body 1,000 feet tall. And then they'd probably run away, okay? So you're making yourself mighty, okay? You can basically just grow your astral body till it's 1,000 feet tall. And say, oh my God, this human knows how to do that. We don't know how to do that. Let's get the hell out of here. Okay? That can sometimes scare them away. Say, ha, ha, ha. They fell for it. Psh. And you come back into your natural state. Okay? That happens as well too. When you grow your astral body, that's very menacing to people, to beings that are disruptors. Because they don't know how to do that. Right? We as humans know how to do that. I'll make my astral body 1,000 feet tall. I could step on you guys right now. Leave my space now. Gone. Okay? I'd say the best way to do it is just invoking your source. Bring yourself back to center. Okay? That's the best way to do it. Thank you for your question. Exciting conversations, huh, guys? I'm glad that we're kind of getting back into the flow of what New Earth teachings truly represents. This is the stuff I was talking about all the time prior to COVID. I'm happy to come back into it. Okay, let's go down the list here a bit more. Okay, just give me one more second, guys. I think we're going to take about 2 more questions, and we're going to wrap up for today. Okay, this one's from David of Shield. David of Shield says, this earth plane could vibrate at such a beautiful frequency, heaven on earth for all. What about the evilness, the corruption, the greed that humanity embraces on a daily basis? Well, they're only going to embrace it up to a certain point, because they'll see what they embrace is nothing but a stabbing in the back, right? This is why a lot of people are afraid right now. This is why a lot of people are depressed. They've invested in so much of their time and energy into a system that basically chews them up and spits them out. And now they're realizing this doesn't work anymore. This is why so many people are distraught. This is why so many people are depressed. Guys, we have to go back many years, right? Even when I was first starting to do this work, going back into 2008, 2009, and people were all just praising the idea of saying, we need to shake things up, guys. We need to really put massive change on the planet. We're going to bring about so much change on the planet that it's going to shake and jolt everybody out of their physical reality. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember going back a few years ago, right? You look at message forums, you look at chats, right? You talk to people on the internet. What were a lot of people saying? We need to shake things up. We want to bring about so much change on this planet that it's going to jolt people out of their reality, because that's exactly what I remember myself saying when I was channeling Adronis. He said it's like a wild roller coaster ride where you're actually throwing your hands up in the air because you're so excited, or you're like, get me off, get me off, get me off, get me off. Okay, he said that back in 2009. Where are we right now, guys? We're in that roller coaster. Yeah, this is so exciting. Get me off, get me off, get me off. I'm tired of this. I don't want to be on here anymore. Get me off, get me off, get me off, get me off, get me off. It's exactly where we are right now. Because we've had so much shakeup. Because all of us have wanted such deep change and great jolts within our reality. To say we need to turn everything upside down. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, we need to come together, guys. The whole world needs to come together. We need to shake this up. We need to jolt everything. We need everything to change. It's exactly what you're seeing right now, guys. You asked for this. This is the effect that it brings. Okay? You're getting people that are just pulling their hair out of their head, if they have hair on their head, and they're going crazy, and they're going frantic, and they're being depressed, because they realize that this system, in regards to how its infrastructure functions, is doing nothing but stabbing them in the back. And they get depressed, and they fall apart, and they don't know what's going on because they've forgotten their own words. They've forgotten their own intentions. I'm even talking about people who are very much into following their own inner heart path. Okay? It's happened to them as well too. Why is all this madness happening? Guys, you asked for this. You asked for all this stuff to shake up, to turn your reality upside down, to look at all these things and watching the complete and total instability of this infrastructure fall apart. You all asked for this. That's what you're getting. This is what it looks like, right? So that just shows us that even though I've been asking for a lot of this stuff, I've been holding on to these attachments relating to this world that constantly stabs me in the back. I've become dependent from trying to get my breast milk from a demon. I've been suckling on the teat of the demon for so long, even though it's been nothing but sour milk. Right? You've been clutching on to a world that you want to have dissolved. And now that you're seeing that world dissolved, it's time for you to release your clutches. It's time for you to let go. It's time for you to harmonize yourself, to come back into your center, because when you're in your center, everything comes together for you. All this destruction, all these tremors will stop because everything comes together for you. You are in your center. You are in the central space of intelligence. Everything comes together with you. I can be living proof of that, guys, because that's all I've done with my life, is I came to the center. I was very much in a shakeup. I was very much into having tremors and fights and arguments and battles with family and with friends and having these debates and all these things. And I was seeing that, what is it really doing for me? It's not doing anything. And I'm going to let all this go, and I'm going to come back into my center, and I'm working for myself within, and I've never been happier. It all comes together for you. It's when you try to control through the physical mind, when the conscious self feels like it's the player here and it needs to drive the car, you're just going to end up in a ditch. Okay? You need to let go. You need to surrender. You let go of the crutches, the crutch and the clutch. And you realize, I've been feeding on sour milk from a poisonous breast, and it's time I latch off. It's time I start coming into my power. And I have to regurgitate a lot of that sour milk. I got to start vomiting it out, because that's what I've been feeding off this corrupt system for so long, because I thought that's all that there was. You guys are never going to know that there is more until you are here. Okay? You have to let go of that 5 sense life where you feel like everything is corrupt, everything's despicable to the bone, everything is suffering, everything is lamentable. I need to get out of all of that. I need to release my clutches. I need to vomit out all of that sour, disgusting, despicable milk that tastes like tar. And I need to start reorienting myself again. Okay, I got to purge, right? You guys drink a lot of poison. You're not going to be able to get that poison to go and pass through your system naturally like it's nectar. Okay? You're going to regurgitate it out. You're going to puke it out. You're going to vomit it out, because that's exactly what I had to do. Okay? I had to puke all this stuff out. Energetically vomiting all this stuff out of you. You got to do it, right? That's all part of the inner work. You can't keep the poison in your system. It's got to be puked. It's got to be vomited out, right? And then as we vomit out the main amount of it, we can now start to transmute the rest. Okay? The rest isn't so bad. But we're getting all that main stuff and blah, we're puking it out. Okay? It's exactly what you're doing when you're working with the release ball method, when you're doing prana transmission technique, right? You start breaking down. Okay, I have worked with tens of thousands of people all over the world for the past 15 years. I know the patterns. I know exactly what people go through. I know their stages of how they're going to evolve. It's all second nature to me now. Okay? It's not surprising to me what any of you go through, because I've heard it all. I've been through it all. I've seen it all. And I've kept track of it these past 15 years. I've worked with people that have gone into such deep extremes of emotion, but then they choose to listen. They let me guide them. They follow that guidance, and the vomiting begins. And it feels not so good, but when you let it all out, it actually does feel pretty good, right? You just can't believe how much you've been spewing out of yourself. When you do that, what remains we can transmute. What remains we can bring back into center. But there's just that big gushing of nastiness that needs to come out of all of you. Okay? And I've been working with so many people these past 15 years, thousands of you, right? I know your patterns. I know exactly what you go through. I know exactly what is your stage from step A, step B, step C, step D, into you becoming an empowered being. I've seen it all. Okay? This is why I know, I'm not saying this to brag, guys, but I know what I'm talking about. I have the experience to know about talking about all these things. And I know when a person is ready to break through and make an incredible transformation. And I also know when a person's not ready yet. I know that they still have to work, and they still have to do a little bit of inner discussion, and they have to convince themselves completely, okay, this is what I need to do. I'm going to do it. When they come to me and say, Brad, I'm ready to do this now, good. Now we can get to work. Another person where I'm basically telling them, okay, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to take care of. Yeah, I know. Okay, you're not ready. You're not ready. You're grumbling about this, and you're still in a clash with yourself. Until you come to me and said, Brad, I'm ready to do this, now we can get to work. Now we can start to do something grand. Because let's face it, many of you don't want to, right? There's some of you who do. Unfortunately, that's the minority, okay? There's a majority of you, basically, I'm telling you all this stuff. Yeah, I know. I've heard all this before. Okay, have you actually doing it? No, I'm not doing it. But I've heard about all this before, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you're not doing it, and you're staying in suffering. Yeah, I know. So you're ready to do this? Oh, I don't know. Okay, you're not ready. You're not ready. And you need to break yourself down a little bit more until you feel, okay, I'm ready to do this. It's do or die. Okay? And that's basically where a lot of people are at. It's do or die. And by die, I mean they just stay with their world of suffering. They basically hold on to the last grip because they think if I keep trying to change the external world, something will happen. But it's like trying to rip yourself out of the Chinese finger puzzle, right? The finger trap. No matter how much you try to pull and pull and pull and pull, you just can't do it. It's only until you do this that you can slip out of the finger puzzle. All right? That's the key. And that's what every single one of you need to do. When you're at the brink of doing or dying and you're ready to do this, that's where you have the greatest revelation. God speaks to you the clearest when you're ready to dangle your last finger, ready to fall off a cliff. Then you're caught. And then you're brought back up. Okay, that's how it happens. That's how it certainly happened to me as well too. I was going through a huge calamity, which led me to a breakthrough. I was going through a horrible separation. I was going through an incredible transformation, taking me out of an old home and moving into something completely brand new. And I was dangling off the cliff by a pinky. Okay, and then I got caught. And the evolution began. The transformation began. That's what has to happen, guys. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's certain people who are able to not have to dangle off a cliff because they've been doing some work and they just need to give themselves a little bit more of a nudge. Said, well, Brad, I didn't need to dangle off a cliff. Well, that's fantastic. Because a lot of the people I have to work with are dangling by a pinky finger off the cliff, thinking that something outside is going to change, something outside is going to save them, and nothing does. And they're now just at the point of defeat, and all of a sudden a hand comes up and it puts you into your center, and now you change. Okay? That's what it takes. That's what it takes for many of us. Why? Because a lot of us are stubborn. We're stubborn and we're ignorant. And until we actually get out of that stubbornness and that ignorance and come into acceptance, come into surrender, that's where everything comes around. But as soon as you're there, blah! Okay? All of that needs to happen. I wish I could tell you guys it happens another way, but it doesn't. We've put so much poison in our bodies. It needs to be spewed out. Okay? And the residuals we can take care of. But that main source that needs to be spewed, that has to happen. Okay? It needs to happen that way. Once you're through it, okay, that's it. Now I can start healing myself. Fantastic. So what that spewing looks like is the horror of what you see the world truly as. Right? The world that I have invested my energies in has been nothing but poison. And I realize that, and what happens? People go into breakdowns. They break themselves down tremendously. They get incredibly depressed because they've seen the world for what it is. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to hold it in. They talk to me and say, okay, I want you to let it all out. I want you to let out everything that you're holding on to right now. And they start bawling and they start crying and they're letting it all out. And afterwards they say, great, that's great. So Brad, I'm just bawling my eyes out, it's horrible. No, it's okay. Keep going, keep going, keep going, right? You're regurgitating all this. You're getting it out of your system. You're letting it out. Now that you're letting it out, we can begin the healing process. Now that you're letting it out, we can go into true surrender. Now things are going to start getting beautiful because you puked out the poison. Now we can go to work. Okay? That's what it takes, guys. Okay? And it's not surprising whatsoever. If you need to bawl your eyes out, if you need to cry, you need to let all these things out. If you need to do an angry burst, you let it out. Right? You got to say, I hate what this world represents. Okay. Then go ahead and hate it. Right? And it's you just letting these things out. Don't try to keep holding them in. That's how you're going through all this suffering as well too, because you don't feel you can express yourself. You need to vomit it all out. Goes back into that network show, like back in the 1970s, right? You got to get mad. I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That's exactly it. That's you regurgitating all this stuff that needs to come out. Guys, I didn't just come into this and say, oh, I'm this wise, evolved channel being and stuff like that. It took 15 years for me to get to me where I am, okay? And at the very beginning, I was puking, okay? Blah! Getting all this stuff out, seeing what the world truly was, and it was disgusting, and it was despicable. This is not how we're supposed to truly live. Ye are gods. You are living gods. Right? And we have identified ourselves as flesh. We have identified ourselves in the physical. And that's not our true nature. Ye are gods. Right? So we got to vomit all this stuff out, purge all of this stuff out to tell us this is not who I am. And I got to let it go, let it go, got to let it go. This is why I've been spending some time to try and make the process a little bit easier by working with the release ball method, by working with prana transmission technique, by working with BCR technique, by working with cord removal healing, right? These are easier ones. This is allowing a little bit more of an easier vomiting to take place, okay? So it's not so horrific, okay? But it still involves that intention. Yes, Brad, I'm going to change because that's what I need to hear from you. Are you ready to change? Yes. Let's do this. Great. We're going to do it, and we're going to prosper really, really well. That's the tipping point. That's you off the cliff and say, yes, okay, I'm ready to change. Good. Grabbed your hand, pulled you up. Let's go to work. That's what I need out of you guys. And when you're there, that's where miracles happen. And it's beautiful, right? All right, let's go to one last question, guys. We're going to wrap up. Okay. Okay, this one is from the Gospel of Liam Thomas. Liam says, hi, Brad. I'm having dreams with lots of demonic energies. Could you ask Spirit how can the collective deal with dreams like this? Well, a lot of people do deal with dreams like this, with the idea of they're demons because they're your demons. They're your manifestations of fear. They're your manifestations of the mind, of the emotional states. You keep running. You keep feeling like you need to run and hide. You feel like you're a victim. You feel like you're hurt. And so the manifestations of your dreams are these demons that are basically being the forefront to why you're running, to why you're hiding, to why you're being a victim. Your dreams are your own higher self giving you a language. It's giving you a message. Are you going to keep running from your demons? Are you going to keep running and hiding? Are you going to keep trying to fight them and thinking that you can slay them when they just keep coming back over and over and over and over again? Okay? It's not about that. If you have a sword and a shield in your hand, you drop it on the ground. You sit down right in front of your demons. You put your hands on your heart and you shine your light. You're all me. Come home to center. You are all me. Come home to center. I am sovereign. And your demons get dissolved just like that. All gone. Okay? But it's not until we have that crack. It's until we get that splinter in our reality where we basically see the prism crack. And we say, okay, I'm not going into this old program. It's when I'm bursting your bubble. Okay? Pop. That's it. They're all me. I am sovereign. Come into my center. And it happens. And you watch everything just wash away. A lot of us aren't really conscious in our dreams, though. A lot of us are basically just experiencing this. But that doesn't mean that the work ends when the dream ends. Okay? It's telling you, those dreams are my manifestations of fear. Those dreams are my heavy conflicts. They're my heavy emotions. They're heavy manifestations of my own peril. And I can take care of them while I'm awake or when I'm sleeping at any particular time. Your dreams are just doing you a favor to show you what you have. Now, you may not be able to resolve that segment within your dream, but the impression of it stays with you. When I realize that all my dreams are trying to tell me is the condition of my own psyche, and I start looking at my world as a witness, and I realize my boss is a bully to me, my parents have been a bully to me, some of my friends have been a bully to me, I'm working at a job that I think is thankless, I'm really just working at a job for a paycheck, and I come home miserable and I'm just angry with everybody. Well, these are the demons that are manifesting in my dreams. Okay? It's not about taking these things literally, guys. 95% of your dreams are parables. Okay? They're metaphors. And some people says, oh yeah, Brad, I had this really ugly gray coming up to me and was talking to me and saying these horrible things to me and trying to put curses on me and stuff. Okay. And so do I have a being like that in my field? I said, that's not what you need to think about. This is a manifestation of your own psyche. And that is your own demon ruler in regards to what you are going through each and every single day. Right? You hate your job. You hate the people that you work with. You hate how you are. You hate how you act around other people. Well, these are the manifestations of your dream that are telling you that. They're coming into some type of solid form, applying as some type of character to letting you know that you're in pain. And what do we do? We learn to surrender. We got to regurgitate. Blah. We got to split the prism. Okay, we got to burst the bubble. We need to purge out the poison, right? Because we need to feel this and say, oh, it's that clarity. It's when you have that clarity, the vomiting happens. It can't stay in your system anymore. You're regurgitating it out, right? You barf it all out. And now you get clarity on that. So I see. So just go into my center. That's it. Go into your center. Talk to your light right now. See your light right here, right? See it shining bright and beautiful. And see all those demons that you have seen in the past. Whether they're demons here in the physical, whether they're demons here in the astral, doesn't matter. Go into your heart and say, you are all me, come back into my center. And it all ends. And it's finished. Because you say that with absolute sincerity. And now those demons that have been manifested as messengers to telling you that you have been contaminated vanish. Now the body can do its work. Now the body can heal itself. Now the mind can heal itself. Because you have given the conviction to surrender and to bring everything back into your center. Now you're an empowered being. Now you're beginning a beautiful journey. Now the idea of you feeling that you're depressed and sad and horrified about a world that was never yours to begin with ends. You're not responsible for this world. You're not responsible for changing it. You're not responsible for making it better. You're not responsible to feel like you have to stack it on your shoulders and carry it up an uphill climb. Because that is the delusion that you have been fighting. You let all that go. I'm going to let the world take care of itself. I will be of compassionate service. I will help others. But I'm doing it just for the sake of compassion, not necessity. Compassion is not a necessity. Compassion is compassion. Right? You got to give up this weight of feeling that you are responsible for 8 billion humans on this planet. You need to give up this weight of feeling that it's up to you to change the horrors that you see on this planet. What did you do to completely resolve the demons within your space? You went into your center with conviction and saying, you're all me, come back to center. And through that conviction of surrender, everything returned back into harmony. Now, when you do that in the physical world, you are bringing everything back into center and everything is coming into harmony, not because you're changing anything out here. It's because you've changed yourself in here. You're the only changeable one. You cannot change your dad, your mom, your brother, your sister, your kids, your partner. You can't change any of them. You can't change politicians. Okay? You can't change leaders. You can't change your boss, your co-workers. That's not the point. You're the only changeable one. As you're the only changeable one and you come back into your center, everything now just starts to move back into equilibrium again. You now notice there's been no arguing in my space anymore. There's been no fighting. There's been no clashing because I just feel like I've brought everything back to center. Because I've changed. And as I've changed, the Rubik's Cube of my life now shifts. And now reality feels beautiful. Because I've changed myself. That's what it comes down to, everybody. You are not here to change anybody else. You're here to change you. You're here to come back to center. And the whole irony is that you've never actually really been changed. Right? We've only adopted. And what we've adopted is these dark shadows, thinking that this is what the world is and this is what I bought into. And I've bought into the shadows of life. Rather than watching all of those obstructions fall away and all that remains is the sun. And I'm the sun. I'm the sun shining upon myself. I am happiness. I don't need to look for it. I don't need to acquire it. I am happiness. I am bliss. I've been that all along. There's nothing but I all along. Something the masters have been saying for a very long time. There is nothing but I all along. Everything really represents the subjectivity nature. You've never been objective. Right? We may act objectiveness through the nature of a task, but there is no objectiveness in all of reality. It's always subjective. There is always an I, and you are the I. Doesn't matter if you're completely in stillness, completely in surrender. Who is it that's experiencing this surrender? I. Who is it that's experiencing this stillness? I. You cannot get rid of that I. That's you. That's where the ego and the self meet, is I. Is this making sense to everybody? I'd like you to reflect on everything that's been shared today and really look into it and let that regurgitation process, like I said, we can make it a little bit easier. This is why I'm doing the shortcuts. This is why we're doing the free healing exercises on the YouTube channel here on the playlists. Makes it a little bit easier. Makes it a little bit more bearable. Okay? But we still got to purge. That's the important part. So please, guys, look into that. Look into prana transmission. Look into release ball method. Look into cord removal healing. Look into BCR technique and conflict elimination. This is why I've created these things for you, so that the regurgitation doesn't have to be so intense. You still got to do it, but it doesn't have to be so intense. Okay? Thank you, guys, for being a part of the final episode of New Earth Tarot today. I'll be back tomorrow for New Earth TV Live. So New Earth TV Live will be happening weekly. It'll be every Friday, okay? And we'll be starting off first thing tomorrow with Q&A, okay? Q&A for 45 minutes. Then we're going to do some practices. Then we're going to do some distance healing at the end of the broadcast. Then Saturday is Etherics live stream. And then Sunday is transmissions from Adronis. So busy week for webcasts. It's going to be a lot of great fun. Looking forward to it. Thank you, guys. Be well. Blessings to you all. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskar. And may it be well with you. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in to New Earth Teachings on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can do private sessions with me, and also Etherics.co. And through Etherics, you'll be able to pick up your Healing Code Cards body deck, your mind deck, and your energy deck through Etherics. You will also be able to pick up the Etherbed kit. That is also on Etherics as well. Not to mention that you'll also be able to pick up some apparel and accessories that is also available on Etherics. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskar, and may it be well with you.